Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's Q&A session for Inside Out. I am Kitu Kasungola. I'm one of the interns on the Encounters Festival 2021. And today I have the awesome pleasure of facilitating the session with our very talented director. She is a writer. She has a very keen, beautiful eye. So you can almost tell that photography is something that she enjoys. So she's a photographer, she's a writer, she's a director. She is very interested in intersectional feminisms, which comes out in quite a number of her other work. But today specifically, as we look into Inside Out, we are looking at her eye and how it focuses on dance. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us, Jabu.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I really enjoyed just how vibrant the short is. And you can automatically tell just by looking at the film that this is someone who has a very keen eye. And so I was just wondering to myself, why don't you add DOP to your scope of work?
I would love to be a cinematographer, a DOP. That's like the next thing I would want to be, because it's so cool and it's so much fun. And I think it's so interesting the way that you have the technical abilities to do that. But then I also just love collaborating with the DOPs that I collaborate with. A lot of them are really good friends of mine and people I've collaborated with many times. And Pierre de Villiers, who's the DOP on this short, we've worked together before and we just love working together. And yeah, it's nice to have that synergy and relationship with another like creative that you value and you envy and you wish you could do too.
No, I can completely understand that. And while we're chatting about the short, can you tell us a little bit about your inspiration for the work?
So I was approached by a friend of mine who works with the Indorni Dance Arts and Leadership Academy, and she was their arts teacher, and she was telling me about all the work that they were doing and the incredible costumes and masks that they were making. And she wanted to document it because she was having an exhibition to raise more money to fund the program. And she just wanted me to document it or take photos of it. And then when I saw them and when I met them, I was like, this is so incredible, so beautiful. I would just love to make a film and make a documentary about them. And the inspiration was just from them, their work, what they do, and how to film that and shoot that in a way that was true to them as well. Yeah.
Okay. And so when you were, sorry, just a moment. So once you've conceptualized the work or what you want to do now, you're inspired by the dance company and everything that they do, and it's now snowballed from just being something of archiving them to now immortalizing them into film, if I could put it that way. How was that process going from concept to screen?
So the first thing we did was I spent a couple of days with the dancers where they were rehearsing and working, and kind of just shot them a bit on my phone, shot them a bit on my DV camcorder, and just got to know them, conducted kind of like interviews, just asked them to send me voice notes and things like that. And with every dancer, we asked them like, where do you want to dance, where do you want to express yourself? And then that's when we kind of came up with the ideas of the water and the forest place. And then from there, it was just about scouting the locations and then them rehearsing their dances that they like, their group dances together, and then them rehearsing their personal dances, and then kind of just mapping out where to shoot all of them because there was a lot of them. So finding the time to shoot them all plus their group dances was important. But then once we found our locations and all our crew worked, just for the love of it and just to work together and to bring something together. And then we shot it over 2 days and then took a while to edit it. But yeah, it kind of took a month for everything and then quite a long time for the post after that.
And I suppose the layman never knows how much time goes into such a thing. So how much time had you allocated to the choreography? Do you have someone who specifically looks at choreographing the pieces for you? Because I noticed in Nowness as well, there's also a dance element there. There's also a site specific element there. So, how much time do you allocate to that creative process? And do you have someone specifically in charge of that?
So because they're part of a dance company, they have a choreographer who choreographs them. So they spend every day dancing and working on pieces. So once we get together and we're shooting, they already have a lot of dances that they've been rehearsing or practicing that we then just figure out how to make it work. But it also comes from like improvisation and just in the moment. So the dancers, when they were doing their personal individual pieces, they were kind of just like feeling themselves in that moment and wanting to express what the particular masks and what the particular outfits that they had made, how it makes them feel and how they want to move in it. So then those movements came from that, expressing like this alter ego that they had created.
I love also how I really enjoy how you also bring the inside outside and then you capture nature, and then that also feeds in as an additional sort of character, not just as a backdrop in your work. I also noticed it in Nowness as well. So what is your attraction to nature, and why does it feature so prominently in some of your work the way it does?
Yeah, I think that for me, nature is where I really get my inspiration and my place of like solitude and like rehabilitation almost. And living in Cape Town, there's so much like beautiful natural resources around that it just makes sense to shoot in those spaces when you have the opportunity to do it, because it's kind of like using the environment as it is and then bringing something new and different to it. But it also came a lot from the choreographer and the dancers, who they were kind of saying like they'd always imagined, dancing in a forest, or like that's where they feel they go when they dance. So then it just felt natural to place them in those actual spaces and use that as our background.
And it worked really beautifully with their body, with the music, with the poetry. How do you choose the poetry that you end up using in the film?
So the poetry is all by Siyabonga Jim, and he's a poet and a dancer. And when I was speaking to all of the dancers and asking them like, okay, tell me a bit about yourself, what would you want to include in the film? And he was sending me his poems, and that's how he was expressing himself. Like, he didn't want to send a voice note introducing himself or talking to camera. He just wanted to, perform his poems. And I thought that was really beautiful. And we kind of just kept a relationship going for like over a year, where he would just constantly be sending me new poems that he would do. And every time we felt like one was so visually inspiring and one that we could work with, we would go with that.
Okay, cool. Film is, and I suppose art in general lends itself to this collaborative kind of effort. And, you draw inspiration from different parties. And I think maybe for documentaries, it's different than fictional work, for example. So how do you approach the two in your process differently?
I think with documentaries, it's so much about the people that involved. So it's like really collaborating with them from the get-go and wanting to represent them in the way that they also want and feel comfortable in. but then almost like elevating it to another level. So bringing your expertise and your craft to make it even better than they would imagine or they would hope. And yeah, it's just, I mean, it's just about finding the right time to shoot them in moments that make the most sense and make the best for it. So even though I've done quite a bit of documentaries, my documentaries are so like prepared that it feels like a fiction, because we're going through questions over and over again, and we're rehearsing and we're talking about what we're going to do. And then it's just about capturing those real life moments and conversations in a space that we've all prepared for.
Okay. Okay. That I enjoy that. I enjoy that as something that one can use as a template if you're an aspiring director, for example, and you're looking to dabble and see what you can do in the space as well. It's always nice to hear of different people's processes as well. So on the horizon, what can we expect from you?
I've actually just done another documentary on an architect called Sumaya Valley, which I'm really excited about. That's in collaboration with the Serpentine Gallery in London. And I've got something else coming up right now that I'm really excited about. It's also a short / music video, but it's going to be very fun. And it's something that's different and new, and someone bringing me a story, but bringing me a story that fits in with what I've been doing. So another big collaboration. Yeah.
Oh, well, all the best with all of that. And I know that anything that you touch will be absolute magic because you're absolutely talented. And I thank you so much for giving us a moment of your time today. Would you like to share your social media handles for everybody so that they can follow you, keep in touch with you, and see where your work and trajectory is progressing to?
Awesome. You can follow me on Instagram at Jabu Newman and on Twitter at Jabu Nadia Newman. And then you can also follow the Ndoni Dance Arts and Leadership Academy on Facebook. They're also on Instagram as well.
Oh, great. Thank you so much once more.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much to the sponsors and partners of Encounters Festival. Please do make sure that you hop on over to our website, www.encounters.co.za, so that you can find out more about this year's festival program, so that you can find our contact details in case you want to reach out and find anything out from us. But also, more importantly, our social media handles are there for you to click on, like, subscribe. You know how these YouTubers say, but do best, because we are here, and I hope that you will enjoy this year's festival and do definitely see all the films that are out there. We will see you when you see us.